There was something about the sound of a school bell in the 1960s, a metal clang that carried through the morning air, calling hundreds of young voices into order. It didn't just mark time, it marked the rhythm of growing up. Schools back then were built to stand the test of time. Brick facades, tall windows, wide staircases that echoed with hurried footsteps. They were more than structures. They were monuments to learning and discipline. Each morning began with sunlight cutting through rows of glass, lighting up wooden desks and chalk-dusted floors. The smell of floor polish mixed with paper and ink, a scent that still lives in memory. Teachers stood at the front like guardians of knowledge. Men wore ties. Women wore long skirts and soft smiles that could turn stern in an instant. Respect was not demanded. It was understood. Boys in pressed shirts and girls in pleated skirts filled the classrooms. Shoes shined, posture straight, voices quiet until spoken to. Manners mattered, and so did effort. Wooden desks carved with initials and small secrets. Underneath, rows of metal hooks for satchels and lunch pails. They creaked when you leaned on them, a familiar sound of focus and fidgeting. The blackboard ruled the room. Chalk squeaked, erasers thudded, and clouds of the white dust floated like ghosts of lessons past. Every problem was written by hand and erased with care. The day began with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by announcements crackling through the intercom. Everyone stood, hand over heart, eyes on the flag, a quiet unity before the noise of learning began. Textbooks were heavy, their covers thick and corners worn. Inside, bright illustrations and crisp pages filled with promise. History, math, science, literature. Knowledge felt tangible, printed, and permanent. Before keyboards and screens, there was penmanship, each curve of cursive practiced until perfect. Letters flowed like art, and a gold star meant everything. Rules were clear, and order mattered. A sharp look from a teacher could still the room. Consequences weren't questioned, they were expected, and respect was the silent lesson beneath every subject. cafeteria buzzed with trays and laughter. Metal spoons clinked against mashed potatoes, and milk cartons lined every table. It was noisy, chaotic, and utterly human. When the bell rang for recess, freedom began. Metal slides gleamed in the sun. Swings creaked with joy. Hopscotch squares, jump ropes, and dodgeballs. Childhood written on asphalt. The yellow bus was a world of its own, filled with chatter, songs, and fogged up windows. Drivers knew every kid by name, and every bump in the road felt like an adventure. Many children walked. Rain, snow, or shine. Crossing guards waved white gloves, and friendly dogs followed along for half the journey. It was a ritual of independence and routine. Rows of wooden shelves, dust motes floating in the sunbeams. Whispers were the only acceptable sound. Every book held a promise and a mystery. Texto padrone in kitchens, lined with formica counters. Students learned to bake, sew, and budget. It wasn't just education, it was preparation for life. The smell of sawdust filled the air. Students in goggles measured twice and cut once. Wood, metal, and pride in every finished project. Echoes of sneakers squeaking on polished floors, basketballs bouncing, whistles blowing, and laughter from the bleachers during Friday games. Music rooms alive with recorders, pianos, and voices singing in harmony. Art classes with clay, paint, and imagination. Creativity was encouraged, quietly but sincerely. Beakers clinked, Bunsen burners flickered, and notes filled the air. Every experiment felt like discovery. Sometimes success, sometimes smoke. A room of mystery and fear. Leather chairs, ticking clocks, and a phone that could change your day. Even the smell of that office carried authority. Buses packed with excitement, sack lunches, and paper permission slips. Museums, farms, and factories, learning beyond the classroom walls. Plaid skirts, sweaters, and polished shoes. Everything neat, everything proper. School was not just a place to learn, it was a place to belong. Passing notes under desks, sharing secrets during study hall, and laughing until the teacher turned around. Those were the moments that lasted. By the mid-1960s, music grew louder, skirts grew shorter, and opinions grew stronger. Even schools began to change, the old rules meeting a new generation. Far from home, students shared dorm rooms, letters, and dreams. Discipline meant loneliness, and friendship softened both. Caps, gowns, and nervous smiles. Cameras clicked once, flashbulbs popped, and futures began beneath the summer sky. Decades later, their names still echo. The patience, the firmness, the care, they shaped more than minds. They shaped lives. The hallways of those schools still exist, not just in old buildings, but in the hearts of those who walked them. For in every memory of chalk and laughter, the spirit of the 1960s classroom lives on.